Hello and welcome. So, again we did it. We cleared this week's fractured plane in under 30 minutes. Let's see how we did it and what legendaries I would recommend for you to use. So, in this week's afflict we have 50% increased damage if the enemy has a status effect. That's good damage increase, and there are a lot of legendaries to proc this. But there is one huge issue with this, and they will be the bosses, as you can't control them, so no stuns, no chills, no slows, nothing like that works on the bosses. So we are essentially left with only one choice, and that is burn effect. So the most important piece for this week's run will be Dragon's Indignation, as this triggers a burn on enemies hit by 7-sided strike, and more importantly, this also works on the boss. Now we want to complement this with Storm Spirit, so we get the Firestorm out of Cyclone Strike with the burn. What does this Firestorm do? Well, it makes every hit from the Cyclone Strike crit, so we essentially double the damage from Cyclone Strike and then add another 50% on top of it because the enemies are burning. Now the auto legendaries doesn't matter that much, and you can also swap Storm Spirit with Diablo Rope, but note that it has a bit less damage, but it does blind normal monsters, so you can get the 50% increased damage affix from that. Just note, this blind does not work on bosses. On headpiece, I would recommend using either Solace of the Peaks or Judgment Watch. Judgment Watch has a bit less cooldown but doesn't have the chill effect that triggers the affix. Again, note that the chill does not work on the bosses, so if you're using Judgment Watch, you get a bit more damage per minute out of it. On shoulders, it really doesn't matter what you use, just try to get the best start one. But of course, if you find these blinds, wait, it will give you 10% increased damage on 7-sided strike, or if you find the first white, it will give you a bit more defense after using 7-sided strike. But most importantly, get the highest start one shoulders, as this will increase your damage way more than the 10% increase on 7-sided strike will ever increase. Unless you find 5-star this blind weight, then of course use that one. But the main hand and the chest is way more important to get the right pieces, so this is optional. On bands, I would recommend using either Path of the Storm for the 20% increased damage taken after using Cyclone Strike, or Tottering Tower for the stun on Flying Kick. Others can also work, just aim for the best start ones yet again. Now, on the offhand, I would recommend using Spokes of the Wheels for the 10% increased damage after using Flying Kick. You can also use Respite Sight to increase your Inner Sanctuary duration. But again, the most important thing is the stars, so get the one with the highest stars. Now, the blessings, they will be the damage ones, yet again, preferably 40% damage increase to elites and 20% overall damage increase. After that, some damage reduction would be great, as this time around we do not have any shields to mitigate the damage we're receiving. I did take the 20% damage reduction and it helped me stay alive. You can also take the 20% health increase with this thing, so you will feel really tanky. Or if you do not want to take any damage reduction, you can take the 30% damage increase with 15% damage taken increased, but I would say this time around it was pretty hard to stay alive, so I would recommend taking the damage reductions. And lastly, Few tips to make it easier for you. In the beginning, you must fill every slot as quick as possible, as the skills are pretty underwhelming before you get the Draconic Indignation and Storm of the Spirit. It is really easy to die on the beginning, so try focus on putting anything you find on. And after you find Dragon Indignation and have a fully equipped, you can worry more about leveling to get the better start items. Fighting the stages are pretty straightforward. You just gather the mobs around and then just circle them while hitting them with deadly reach. And of course, before you start to circle them, you will drop your Cyclone Strike, follow it up with 7-sided strike, and then follow it up with Inner Sanctuary. You can also use Inner Sanctuary before you use the normal combo. It's up to you how you want to use it. On bosses you do the same thing, but just remember to time their normal attacks, so you are not attacking while they attack. To make this easier, hit them only 2 or 3 times and then move and wait for their attacks. Now with this, you should be able to clear the Fractured Plane, but honestly this one was one of the hardest Fractured Plane for me to stay alive. So remember to get those early items. If you find this video helpful, hit that like button to support the channel. Remember, it's free. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, hit that subscribe button too. And most importantly, remember to have fun.